eastern green mamba. Green mambas are secretive and spend most of their time in trees. They come into contact with humans much less than the black mamba and also cause very few bites. These snakes spend a lot of time waiting in ambush, but they also actively forage in the canopy. Their main prey are birds, rodents, and bats. Mambas are equipped with fast-acting neurotoxin to knock down such highly active prey. Many people confuse various species of non-venomous arboreal green snakes of Africa with green mambas. Consequently, high numbers of African snakes with green color are killed. The range of green mambas is quite limited, and only in some regions of East Africa can they be found very far away from the coast. Also, their coffin-shaped head and velvety green large scales are unmistakable features for identification. They are shy and try to escape when encountered. Eastern green mambas don't spread narrow hoods or threaten with open mouths like black mambas. Tropical forests of Central Africa westwards to Nigeria and Benin are the domain of another mamba species with predominantly green color. The Jameson's mamba is a very secretive snake spending most of its time in the canopy. It can grow longer than 2.5 meters. Jameson's mambas hunt mostly birds and small mammals. This species is generally more nervous than the eastern green mamba and is known to flatten the neck and strike if it feels threatened. Although Jameson's mamba is deadly venomous, it rarely comes into contact with humans, and bites are not common. Mostly people who farm and work in the forest can encounter the snake. Sometimes it comes down to the ground and moves to another tree or thicket. Big smooth scales on the unmistakably shaped head and yellowish neck are a clear sign of a Jameson's mamba, but not many people have the chance to see this fast snake properly in the dense vegetation. Some populations from the eastern part of the range of this species have a black tail, while some Central African individuals have very dark scales on their backs. Africa has various different types of forest. Montane rainforests are found in higher elevations, usually from about 1,000 meters above sea level and higher. For example, in the Albertine Rift. This habitat is home to some endemic reptiles which don't live in lower elevations and are adapted to a relatively cold climate. Male Johnston's chameleons have amazing coloration and typically 3 horns on their heads. Another species living in montane rainforests is the strange horned chameleon. One very beautiful species of venomous snake can also be found here. It is the Great Lakes bush viper. The stunningly vivid green color serves as camouflage in lush, moist vegetation. These bush vipers spend most of their time in trees, but will occasionally descend to the ground to hunt. Great Lakes bush vipers sometimes bite people on farmlands close to forests. A bite is characterized by extreme pain, swelling, and can result in necrosis, tissue damage, or loss of a digit. There is no antivenom available. Bush vipers also live in lowland tropical forests. The species with the widest range is the green bush viper, often also called variable bush viper. It is a large species with a maximum length of around 80 centimeters. This is the only bush viper known to cause human fatalities, and specific antivenom is not available. It hunts small vertebrates and can wait for a long time in ambush. Green bush vipers are slow, but otherwise great climbers. When encountered, these little vipers can be a bit grumpy. This individual is opening its mouth and strikes in defense. Bush vipers as a group are famous for their upturned scales, which give them a dragon-like appearance. There is another species famous for its bizarrely long scales, a true dragon among snakes. The rough-scaled bush viper is quite rare and has a very disjunct distribution in western East Africa. Not much is known about the ecology of the snake. Even the diet is a bit of a mystery. probable type of prey seems to include frogs and other small vertebrates, or even snails. Similarly to other bush viper species, rough-scaled bush vipers are threatened by habitat loss and collecting for the pet trade. But compared to some species, like the green bush viper, which survives well in captivity, rough-scaled bush vipers don't feed well and usually die after a few months. Pristine tropical forests in Central and West Africa also provide a perfect habitat for much bigger and heavier viper species than bush vipers. The rhinoceros viper is one of the most beautiful venomous snakes in the world. It is shedding its old skin. Under it, there are fresh, stunningly colourful scales. Seemingly a very bright coloured snake actually becomes almost invisible in the leaf litter. Rhinoceros vipers are mostly terrestrial, but also regularly climb into thickets and lower branches. They can sit and wait for their prey for a long time. The row of horns on the nose is not clearly known, but they might break up the outline of the animal. These vipers hunt mostly small mammals, which they kill with powerful cytotoxic venom. If disturbed, they often will hiss loudly and strike. A bite from this species is an emergency. The rhinoceros viper is a true forest snake which does not tolerate too much disturbance of its habitat. Sadly, primary tropical forests of West and Central Africa are under a huge pressure. People cut forest trees and plant crops to satisfy the needs of a growing population. Forest wood is also used for production of charcoal. It is an essential source of domestic fuel in many sub-Saharan African countries. As the suitable habitats disappear, many snake populations become isolated in small forest pockets. Big, heavy vipers are not capable of moving for long distances and crossing heavy populated areas without being noticed by people. They often get killed out of fear. The rhinoceros viper has a closely related species, which is a bit more tolerant to changes in habitat. The gaboon viper inhabits tropical forests, woodlands, and forest savanna mosaic. It also has stunning colors, which help it to disappear in the leaf litter. Similar to the rhinoceros viper, the gaboon viper has potent venom and is capable of killing an adult human. However, bites are rare because of the secretive natural behavior of gaboon vipers. This species moves slowly and spends most of its time motionless, waiting for its prey. This applies especially for adults. A big adult gaboon viper, about 1.5 meters long, simply lies on the ground and relies on its camouflage. This small rodent did not even notice the presence of the big viper and gets caught. The gaboon viper has the longest fangs of all venomous snakes. They can be about 5 centimeters long. An adult individual can kill and eat very big prey, such as small antelopes and porcupines. However, smaller prey is much more abundant. Ants are bothering the snake while finishing its meal, and the reptile decides to move from its hunting spot. This gaboon viper got very close to the border of the forest where it lives. Having a weight of about 8 kilograms makes it very slow. It finds a big, isolated tree and hides under it from the strong sunshine in the surrounding area where it can overheat.